Hey, welcome back to my channel. I want to talk to you about something today that I think a lot of people need to hear. Your healing may be a lot further along than you think it is. And I know that can feel hard to believe sometimes because when you're inside of it, it still feels like there's more to figure out, more to fix, more to understand, more to work to do. But your future self wanted me to remind you today that at some point, healing stops being about surviving and it starts becoming about living again. And I think some of you are standing right at that line right now. You've done more work on yourself than you give yourself credit for, like real work. Not surface level self help quotes, not pretending everything is fine, but I mean the uncomfortable kind of work. The nights where you had to sit with your own thoughts, the moments where you finally saw patterns clearly, the times you had to admit hard truths to yourself and actually face them. You've grown a lot, but I think some people accidentally stay inside the healing phase longer than they need to. Not because they're broken and not because they're doing anything wrong, but because healing can become familiar. It's sort of like a role or an identity, the thing you know how to do. And your future self wants you to gently ask yourself something today. Am I still healing? Or am I avoiding fully stepping into my life? Because those are not always the same thing. So let's talk about the signs. First, I'm going to take a sip of my water. I also have a coffee here. So, the signs. The signs that you're healing may actually be more complete than you've allowed yourself to believe is first, you don't react the same way anymore. Things that used to completely wreck your nervous system don't hit the same way now. You may still feel, I'm sorry, you may still feel emotions. You may still get triggered, but you recover faster. You come back to yourself faster. And that really matters. That's growth. Second, your standards have changed. Quietly, you started saying no to things, to the old version of you that you've just tolerated. Like certain relationships feel exhausting now, certain dynamics immediately feel off. You notice when you're shrinking yourself around other people. And even if you're still learning, your tolerance for things that hurt you has gotten smaller. That's healing in real life. Third, the way you talk to yourself has changed. You're not perfect, not every day. The voice in your head isn't as cruel as it used to be. There's another voice there now, too, a calmer, steadier one. Part of you that steps in and says, "That's not true. Don't talk to yourself like that. You're not that person anymore." That voice matters. Fourth, you've stopped asking for permission as much. Think about the small decisions you've made lately, quiet ones maybe nobody else noticed. You've started trusting yourself more. Not perfectly, but more than before. You're not checking with anybody first. You're not constantly editing yourself to make other people feel comfortable. You're starting to move like you own your own approval. And honestly, that's huge. Fifth, being alone feels different now. There was a time when solitude felt really heavy, like rejection, like proof that something was wrong, but now the silence feels different. You actually enjoy your own company sometimes. You feel more connected to yourself than you used to. And that's one of the biggest signs that healing is becoming rooted instead of just temporary. Six, your intuition is getting louder again. You notice things quicker. You can feel when something is off. You can feel when something is aligned. Your body notices too, before your mind actually fully catches up. And usually, that only happens when the internal chaos finally starts settling down. The last sign, part of you already knows it's time for your next chapter. Honestly, I think that's why a lot of you clicked this video, because something inside of you has been feeling restless lately. Not in a bad way, but in a I'm ready for more kind of way. You've been feeling pulled towards something new, toward creating something, towards putting yourself out there more, toward finally becoming the version of yourself you've been slowly growing into. And your future self wants you to stop seeing that feeling as recklessness. It's not recklessness, it's readiness. And she felt it too, and she followed it. Here's the thing I really want you to understand though: healing isn't a finish line. There's never going to be a magical moment where every wound disappears and suddenly you feel perfectly ready for life. That moment doesn't exist. At some point, though, the next step becomes learning how to live while you're still growing, learning how to move forward without needing to feel 100% healed. Because your future self didn't wait until she felt perfect. She started showing up anyway. She started building things, making decisions, trusting herself, living her life. And weirdly enough, that became part of the healing too. So after this video, I want you to really think about something. How many of these signs are actually true for you right now? Not like hopefully someday these will be true, but right now. And if the answer is more than you expected, maybe the question isn't, when will I finally feel healed? But maybe the real question is, what would change in your life if you finally believed you were ready? Because your future self already answered that question and she acted on it. You are more ready than you think. Come back on Wednesdays and Sundays. Your future self has more to tell you. Until then, stay magnetic, friends.